that he
lucky,
is.
It says lucky me what? Lucky me.
I see ghosts.
I see. Okay.
I see ghosts. One in front of me right now.
That's why you can see me.
One in front of you right now.
Yes, I'm a ghost.
Such a ghost. What are we going to talk about today? The first topic, diplomatic news, right?
Yes.
Several diplomatic headlines grabbing the attention here in Korea, from summits with neighboring countries to meetings with European leaders, even going trade negotiations with China, right? China. So let's start off with the Korea-Japan summit follow-up, yeah?
Yes, we talked about the Korea-Japan summit last week, but at the time it had just wrapped up and we didn't really get into the details. So let me first give you a very quick recap just to refresh our listeners' memory. Then I will dive into more details. Last week, President Lee Jae-myung met with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi in Japan. And at the summit, the two leaders reaffirmed the importance of shuttle diplomacy, meaning frequent reciprocal visits, and agreed to deepen cooperation in areas like economic security and humanitarian issues while continuing dialogue on sensitive historical matters as well.
Yes. Now, the thing that caught everyone's attention wasn't a joint statement, but however, it was some unexpected scene afterwards. I could not have imagined this to ever happen. I thought I was seeing AI. Guys, I kid you not, I thought this was AI.
At first time when you saw it, you thought it was an AI generated image.
I thought it was AI. I swear I thought it was AI. It was the drum session between the Japanese Prime Minister and President Lee Jae-myung, right?
Yes. After the official talks, there was a private off-the-record gathering, and that's where the surprise happened. The Japanese side had prepared an unannounced cultural event, a drum session between the two leaders. And that's not something you see every day in diplomacy. The two leaders sat side by side in matching blue uniforms, each in front of a drum set made by a well-known Japanese brand. And they played along to K-pop tracks, including Golden, of course, the theme song from K-pop Demon Hunters, and BTS global hit Dynamite.
It was wild. It was wild seeing the two leaders doing a drum session. But here's the thing, it wasn't just for show, right? I mean, there is actually a background story to this with that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, Prime Minister Takaichi is actually known as a longtime drum enthusiast. She even played drums in a rock band when she was younger. And during the session, she gave President Lee Jae-myung an impromptu drum lesson and led the rhythm. Further, President Lee presented a Korean-made drum set and lacquer decorated drumsticks to Prime Minister Takaichi, and the drumsticks were 나전칠기 style, meaning they were decorated with traditional Korean lacquer inlay designs, which adds a cultural and artistic dimensions to the gift. And Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi also gave a thoughtful gift to President Lee. She prepared a Casio watch, specifically a solar-powered model useful for outdoor activities like hiking, which is one of Lee's known hobbies. In addition to the watch for President Lee, Takaichi also sent a selection of local traditional sweets to Lee and his spouse and gave a cosmetic brush and case to First Lady Kim Hae-kyung, all reflecting local specialties from Nara Prefecture where she is based. And this moment resonated so much with the public, including yourself, SJ, because it went beyond politics. And President Lee later wrote on social media that even though their timing wasn't perfect while playing drums together, they share the same rhythm, and that he hoped future-oriented Korea-Japan relations could be built in the same spirit. In diplomacy, these kinds of symbolic non-verbal gestures can be just as powerful as formal agreements.
I thought President Lee Jae-myung, considering he's not really a drummer, did not so bad with Golden, right? I mean, she was on beat.
After a very short lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Claire Hardiker, I misheard that as drunk session.
Drunk session?
Not
that
drunk.
happened before.
No, not drunk session.
During a previous administration.
Yes, previous administration's drunk session happened. But beyond the symbolisms, Hae-young, what were some of the concrete outcomes of the summit?
According to National Security Advisor Lee Sung-nak, this meeting showed that Korea-Japan shuttle diplomacy has now fully taken root. Unlike earlier meetings that focused on setting directions, this one focused on deepening cooperation and expanding its scope. Key issues discussed included Korea's intention to pursue membership in the CPTPP trade pact, Japan's explanation regarding its seafood exports, including those from Fukushima, which Korea said it listened to carefully, and cooperation on DNA identification of remains from the Josei coal mine, a humanitarian issue tied to colonial era history. And like we discussed last week, that last point is particularly sensitive, but it was framed as a first step toward resolving historical issues based on shared values of human rights. And it's a reminder that Korea and Japan are trying to manage the past while still designing the future. That's the point.
It's really hard to read Takaichi because if you've seen her in a lot of these like diplomatic venues, like she's smiling all the time. She's like very hip, right? She's always like friendly, and she doesn't come off as like this very stiff leader. But
she
at
used
the
to
same
be a
time,
broadcaster when she was young,
she was a broadcaster. She was part of a punk rock drummer, right, during college days. But she is also a very conservative. She is a very, very conservative politician too.
Right.
So,
some even call her a far-right politician.
Yeah.
Right?
And so like I don't know if I've seen that so far, to be honest with you. And it's hard to see what kind of leader she is, but there is some reshuffling going on right now, I believe, in the Japanese side, which I don't know if we're going to talk about. But let's shift to another leader this time because President Yi met with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni this week. Tell us about this.
Yes, the two had a meeting Monday morning, and that meeting is significant for several reasons. This was the first visit by an Italian Prime Minister to Korea in 19 years, almost 20 years, and it was also the first visit by a European leader since Korea's new administration took office and since the presidential office returned to the Blue House, Cheongwade. And President Yi described Korea and Italy as countries that may be geographically far apart but share common ground, a respect for tradition combined with a drive for innovation.
All right, so what areas of cooperation stood out then?
The leaders talked about expanding cooperation in aerospace, defense industries, advanced manufacturing, and supply chains, especially critical minerals and semiconductors. But there was also a strong cultural and soft power angle. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni even mentioned that her daughter is a K-pop fan like Blackpink, highlighting how Korean pop culture has become a bridge between the two countries. And that seems to be coming up more and more in diplomacy these days, like K-pop and K-contents. Soft power is no longer a side story, and it also reinforced the idea that this was diplomacy built on shared values and human connection, not just strategic necessity.
That's right. Italians also make very good wine, by the way. Let's talk about China. Well, summit meetings make headlines. There is also some, I guess, quieter.
Right.
It's quieter. It's not a summit, but quiet, but very important development underway.
Right.
These are follow-up negotiations on the Korea-China Free Trade Agreement.
Yes, the 13th round of follow-up talks on services and investment has just begun in Beijing and will continue for 5 days. And officials from both countries are meeting across the 3 working groups: services, investment, and finance. And Korea and China signed their FTA in 2015, but service and investment liberalization was left for follow-up negotiations, and those talks began in 2018, and this is now the 13th official round.
All right, so let's talk about why this round is especially getting the attention.
Well, earlier at a Korea-China summit in Beijing, the two leaders agreed to work toward meaningful progress within the year, and this round is seen as a step toward accelerating negotiations, even though outcomes are still uncertain. And nothing is finalized yet. Talks are ongoing, and details may evolve in the coming days, but it's important because it shows that even during periods of political tensions between U.S. and China, and both very important partners for South Korea, as how Korea and China continue to engage steadily on economic cooperation.
China is Korea's largest trading partner.
Right.
On the flip side, the U.S. keeps closing out allies for trade. Tariffs after tariffs, which, by the way, eventually it's the consumers that are going to pay for the tariffs. But when you have China willing to work closer with Korea, you're going to have to open up to them, right?
That's right.
You're going to have to open up. We're going to continue to talk about other major issues. We talked about how Prime Minister Meloni, her daughter, is a big fan of Blackpink. This is Blackpink singing Lovesick Girls. Back in the studio with Taeyang, talking about diplomatic matters. President Yi talking to Takaichi and Meloni. And of course, the follow-up measures on the Korea-China FTA.
And I also found out that
Yeah.
SJ is interested in learning ballet.
Ballet? No. No, I said, I heard if you learn ballet, your body figure
Right.
becomes
It
prettier.
changes.
And then,
right.
I said,
It
I said
becomes
to Seong,
prettier.
even if I do it,
But it's too late.
and she said
SJ.
yes, and then she said it was too
'Cause
late
you're young 40.
because I'm young 40. and
late.
there's
Just give it a try.
There's absolutely no
Give it a
way.
try.
There's absolutely no way. No way. Do you do any of those kind of workouts?
I try to. I try to go to gym regularly.
My wife yesterday told me she started learning
dance.
pole dancing, and she sent me a video, and I sent her back a picture of rotisserie chicken. And I might be sleeping by myself for like a month now.
That's a real married couple
That's
story.
a true married man. That's a real man right there. 테토남.
No, just Korean man.
Major controversy. Gotta talk about some controversy this time. Ahead of BTS's upcoming concert in Busan. Not because of the music, not because of anything else, except for the fact that the skyrocketing accommodation prices are making everyone angry. Let's look at why big events in Korea so often lead to extreme price hikes, and whether this problem can actually be fixed.
Well, this issue comes up again and again in Korea, and BTS concert just made it impossible to ignore this time. Let's start with what exactly happened ahead of the BTS concert in Busan. BTS is scheduled to hold a world tour concert in Busan on June 12th and 13th. And ahead of the shows, accommodation prices in and around the city surged dramatically, in some cases by as much as 10 times the usual rate. And according to Busan City, more than 70 complaints were filed in just one weekend through a QR-based reporting system run by the Korea Tourism Organization.
I think there was a story of this one person had planned this trip to Busan ages ago. And
Not because of BTS
Not because of
concert,
BTS,
right?
and then had booked it long time ago, and then they found out there was a concert, and then the hotel said we have to cancel that room, and that person got so mad. Because the hotels, like, they're getting greedy, right?
Right.
Basically, if I could make 10 more times than this, we might cancel it.
Oh,
no.
my.
This is what caused even more uproar with this. 10 times the ordinary price. I mean, this is
Yes.
extreme, right?
Yeah, it is. Near Haeundae Station, some rooms jumped from around 70 to 300,000 won per night to as high as 700,000, and in some cases even over 1 million won. Similar price hikes were reported in other districts like Dongnae-gu and Kijang-gun as well. But this isn't just about BTS. This is a very familiar pattern in Korea. Whenever there's a large-scale event like the Olympics, the
Yep.
World Cup, a World Expo Beat, fireworks festivals, or even cherry blossom season, the prices tend to spike across the board. And it's not limited to hotels.
Yeah, I remember when the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics were happening, and there was a big controversy over the accommodation prices. And it led to the city being, everyone had to go through the education process of why you shouldn't be, pumping up prices. I don't know what happened afterwards. But tell us what else gets affected then.
Like taxis, restaurants, short-term rentals, almost every service tied to tourism. So people have started to associate major events with one thing, price inflation. So why does this happen over and over again, you may ask? And there are a few structural reasons. First, demand concentrates very sharply in a short period of time. Second, Korea has a very high proportion of small independent business owners, especially in accommodation and food services. And many operators feel pressure to make as much as possible during the rare peak moments. And consumers also, they complain about the inflated price, but end up just paying them anyway, seeing it as a rare opportunity and a memorable experience not to be missed.
So they're basically going, okay, fine. Then if you're not going to book with us, where are you going to go?
Right.
There is the other option of going to a sauna, right? 찜질방s, but those are also packed too.
Right.
And also, if you're, traveling from
Do
overseas,
they also increase the prices?
no, they don't.
Entrance,
They don't.
right?
They don't. Which is why a lot of people go, but people take advantage of that. And there's too packed,
Right.
and you don't get a very comfortable sleep or anything like that.
No.
Also, I believe one of the reasons why they keep jacking up these prices is because I heard the hotel motel sector has been really, really struggling. They're
Especially after COVID.
not only because of COVID, because less people are using hotels and motels and more Airbnb.
Oh, I
'cause
see,
it's
I
cheaper,
see. Right.
And so they've been struggling, and so when they have a chance to
Right.
make money, they're taking advantage of it, but
Right.
it doesn't look good, and so afterwards people won't use it again.
Right.
Right? So people see this, right? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and for that reason, I mean, the consumers are going to pay for it.
Right. But for not only for the consumers, but for small business owners, the problem is that short-term profit can lead to long-term damage to a city's image, to the tourism industry, and to trust. And what's notable is that this time the government's response sounded unusually strong. President Lee Jae-myung personally addressed the issue on social media, calling excessive overpricing a malicious abuse that destroys market order and harms everyone. And he emphasized that such practices must be rooted out and that penalties should outweigh any unfair gains.
By the way, I think also they should ban those secondary ticket purchasing sites. That's like legal
Like
scalping.
black markets?
No, not black market. There's actual like websites where people can sell their tickets.
Oh.
That's legal
Yes,
scalping.
that's right. That's right.
That's why people are doing like what is it? They have programs that could reserve tickets for them. You're killing it for the real fans
Yes,
out there.
yes.
But by the way, Busan City moved quickly after this message.
Yes, Busan launched a QR code reporting system that allows both domestic and international tourists to report unfair pricing instantly. And the reports are forwarded to local authorities, and joint inspection teams are now conducting on-site checks. And if unfair practices are confirmed, such as unreasonable price hikes or failure to honor reservations, those violations can even affect hotels' official rating.
Yeah, but if it's like a motel, they really don't care, and so they'll take
right.
advantage of this. But again, this is not the first time such issue has been brought up. Let's talk about some similar situations in the past.
Yeah, that's a part of the frustration. During the Busan Fireworks Festival last year, some rooms reportedly exceeded 1 million won per night. That's about like
$750.
$700 US dollars.
$700,
Right? Yeah. Back in 2022, when BTS held a concert supporting Busan's World Expo bid, more than 25 overpricing complaints were filed. So people are asking, why are we still dealing with the same problem? Shouldn't the government or local officials should deeply step in? But at the same time, we face another big question like regulation versus market freedom. And how much should the government intervene in pricing? That's the core dilemma. On one hand, the prices are technically set by the market,
That's
but
true.
on the other, when extreme pricing becomes systematic, it starts to look less like a free market and more like exploitation. So this issue can be framed not just as an economic problem, but as a matter of fairness and public trust. So what are some realistic solutions? Several ideas are being discussed. For example, one is stronger penalties so that overpricing simply isn't worth the risk. Another is better information, like guiding visitors to alternative accommodation areas with good public transportation access. And there's also growing discussion about long-term monitoring systems and clearer guidelines during major events. So it's not just simply about punishment, but about building a tourism environment that benefits everyone, visitors, residents, and businesses in a sustainable way.
I mean, in some ways, I have mixed feelings because I mean, it's supply and demand, right?
Right.
If there's a
That's
huge
right.
demand,
Market freedom.
right? Less supply.
Like 두쫑쿠, 두바이 추위
I still don't understand that, to be honest with you. I would pay $1 million won for a hotel.
Now it's 8,000 won, 두쫑쿠, for one 두쫑쿠.
Still can't get it.
This size.
Still can't get it, right?
Right.
Anyways, guys, we'll continue to talk about other major issues at hand. But first, we talk about BTS. And this is how many people, consumers, feel. This is BTS with Fire, 불타오르네.
Okay.
용서해줄게. That sounded like me. Did you,
I thought it was you.
Did you think it was
I
me?
thought it was you. So
Did you
I
think it was
like,
me?
yeah, hot mic.
Oh, snap. You thought it was Hot Mic.
Yeah.
I heard the voice and I was like, man, was that me?
용서해줄게.
Who was that? Was that RM? Was that
RM, I think.
Was that V?
RM? Probably.
Man.
Man.
You know, I was born first, so you know that guy, whoever that was, he has
After
my voice.
변우석. Now it's RM.
변우석 and then voice of RM. That face of 변우석,
불타오르네.
voice of RM.
My anger is 불타오르네 now.
Man. what a day to be alive.
You know, please forgive SJ because it's really hot in here actually. So he's losing his
No,
mind.
honestly, it is really hot. So, Seyoung and I, we both really dressed warm.
Yes.
Because today,
Several layers because today.
I mean, I have like several layers of fat, but and just like it's this hoodie is really really warm. But it's because today, yes, 오겹살, yes, 5 layers.
I'm craving 오겹살.
Today's the start of a huge cold wave here in the country.
Yes.
And meteorologists are saying this is the strongest cold wave of the winter so far. Today happens to be Daehan,
Right.
right?
대한민국 is facing Daehan.
Yes. Minus 10 degrees to, what is it, minus like 15 degrees with the wind chill and stuff like that. Seyoung's already there. She's 아줌마 now.
아줌마 gag.
아줌마 gag
Yes,
now.
I admit that. The fact that I'm a 아줌마.
You are, which is why you're dressed very warm,
Yes.
right? Temperatures, flu cases are skyrocketing with children, adults. I got sick, not the flu though.
My children got sick.
Oh man, your kids
First
got
one. Again.
Flu?
Type A.
Type A, not
Yes,
B.
again.
Again A?
In just 2 months.
Not B. I
Not
heard
B,
B's the
A.
oh snap. Man, that's terrible. When the kids are sick, as a parent, it's the worst thing, you know? So let's talk about this
right.
cold wave, right?
This is one of those weeks when weather becomes more than just small talk in Korea. It really affects daily life. And let's first start with how dramatic the temperature drop was. Cold air from the north began pushing south yesterday afternoon, and by this morning, temperatures had dropped by more than 10 degrees Celsius compared to the day before. In Seoul, the morning low fell to minus 13 degrees Celsius. In Incheon, it was minus 14. And in places like Paju in Gyeonggi-do province and Cheoron in Gangwon State, the temperatures dropped to around minus 17 degrees. And it felt even colder than that. Strong winds pushed the wind chill down to nearly minus 20 degrees in many areas. And even during the day, temperatures in central region stayed below freezing.
You know, I don't know if it was because like I dressed very warm or it wasn't as windy as they said it was going to be. But I didn't really feel as cold today. But
Because
today's
you braced for that.
yeah, I think it's because I braced
you knew
for it.
it was going to be very cold.
But also, today's not the only day. It's going to be a week-long thing, and cold wave alerts were also issued for many other regions, right?
Yes. As of last night, cold wave advisories and warnings were issued across most of the country, including the Seoul, Jeollado provinces, and parts of Gyeongsang-do provinces as well. In northern Gyeonggi-do and areas like Pyeongchang and Cheoron in Gangwon State, full cold wave warnings are in effect. And importantly, this isn't expected to be a one-day event. According to the Korea Meteorological Administration, the cold wave is expected to continue at least through the weekend.
Man, you know, the thing is, we have this traditional calendar, right? The solar terms, the 24 solar terms.
Right.
Like, recently, it hasn't really been accurate because it's a different kind of climate that we have now.
Right.
But I have to say, today, again, Daehan,
대한민국.
which literally means big cold. I mean, it's spot on, right?
Right. This week coincides with Daehan, one of Korea's traditional solar terms, and it literally means great cold, big cold, like you said. But what's interesting is that we also have 소한, and even though 소한 literally means minor cold, often the coldest time of the year in Korea, and that's
Yep.
because the traditional seasonal calendar was based on northern China, while in Korea, powerful Siberian cold air tends to peak in early January around Sohan. That's why there is a saying here that Sohan is colder than Daehan usually, and most Koreans would agree from experience. But it was different this time. This year, Daehan is considered the coldest period of the year. So in a way, this weather is living up to its name.
Are there other weather factors people should be aware of?
Oh, yeah. Snow is expected to begin early Wednesday along the west coast of Jeollado province and on Jeju-do Island, spreading inland later in the morning and continuing through Thursday. And heavier snowfall is possible in parts of Jeju, the southwestern coast, and Ulleungdo and Dokdo, with some areas seeing several centimeters per hour and possible heavy snow advisories. And light snow flurries may also occur across parts of Chungcheongdo and inland regions, so commuters are urged to stay alert for icy roads or black ice and reduced visibility.
Or at least in like the Seoul capital area, there's no
yes.
snow expected. But although yesterday it wasn't supposed to snow,
No.
but it snowed in the morning,
Little bit.
and I had to get up in the morning, go to work, and I was like, what is this? And it took me like 10 minutes to clean my car.
Oh.
We mentioned flu cases.
Right.
Unfortunately, your son, type A. Why is this cold wave raising extra concerns too?
Because cold, dry air weakens our immune defenses, and we are already seeing a rise in influenza cases, particularly among children. Type A and Type B have been going around for the past few months. And low humidity dries out the respiratory system, making it easier for viruses to spread. And sudden temperature changes also increase the risk of hypothermia and cardiovascular problems, especially for the elderly and young children. So please be careful.
That's why you saw. Did you see Puyong's humidifier?
Oh, yes, I did. It was very cool and cute.
That's such a young person thing to do. Carry on a humidifier. I might
Gen
actually need
Z.
that. How are the local governments responding to the extreme cold very quickly?
Yes, Seoul, the city has opened 24-hour emergency cold shelters at the district offices, and authorities are also operating special response teams to prevent frozen water meters and burst pipes, a very common problem during extreme cold spells. And citizens are being urged to report frozen pipes quickly and to take preventive measures at home.
Yeah, certain older apartments or houses, it freezes. So what you have to do
Right.
is
And
you
it
have to turn on the
bursts.
faucet slightly.
Right.
I used to live in like one of those like villas back before I got married, and I always had to do it. But it was always days when I came home drunk that I forget to turn on the faucet slightly, and then the pipes freeze, and you have to pay 50,000 won in order to
Terrible
defrost
thing.
it. It's terrible stuff out there. Layering, I think Seong did it. She wore it in layers,
Yeah. Heat tech.
like layers, because like if you're an idiot like me and just put everything all at once, you can't take it off.
Yeah, layering is very clever.
Right, so
and
she took
important.
off
So I
her-
can just take off one layer
Man, I got
and
this.
stay cool.
And don't get sick, guys. Don't get sick, Seong. It's going to-
You don't get sick.
I've been sick all winter. Did you know this?
Not just all winter, just all around the year.
No, it was just the
You're
winter
always
time.
sick.
No, it was just the winter time. I don't know what's going on here. It's just so weird.
Exercise regularly, yes, Jay.
I might do pole dancing. Seong, thank you so much for your coverage. Have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll see you again next Tuesday.
Good luck, SJ.
Sending her out of the studio, this is Shin Ryu with Fairy Caster or 날씨의 요정.